It's been about 3 months since Pokemon Legends C through A was released on the Switch 2, and it's a game that has gotten I don't know, it's gotten a mixed reception for the most part because the meta score for this game as of right now is 78, and the user score is 4.7. So that means most critics thought it was an average game, but most users thought it was horrible. One of the worst Pokemon games ever made. And the thing that makes this worse is that this is supposed to be a direct sequel to Pokemon X and Y from 2013, which came out on Nintendo 3DS. Like, in my opinion, Pokemon Legends Z through A is to Pokemon X and Y what I guess Black Ops 7 was to Black Ops 2. And the reason I say that is because Black Ops 7, the story for that game is supposed to be the direct sequel to Black Ops 2. And and they were both, horrible in a lot of people's eyes. And the reason I say that it's horrible is because you go online and there's nothing but complaints about this game being nothing more than overpriced money grab. And you just look at the game itself. I mean, you look at the graphics and the aesthetics and stuff like that. This game could have been 10 times better than what it was. I mean, you look at the Switch 2, it's supposed to be as powerful as the base PlayStation 4. And I don't know what it is, but the graphics don't look it doesn't look like refined or vibrant or anything like that. And like if the graphics for this game looked the way that it did on the original Switch console several years ago, that would be one thing and it would probably be passable. But the thing is, I mean, you have visuals on the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, and on PC that blow this right out of the water. And and a lot of people complain about, I guess, the lack of creativity in this game for the most part. Because I think they, like, one of the ways they try to be creative in this game is with the open world travel. They have you as the main character who is basically doing parkour when you think about it, traveling on rooftops and stuff like that. And then you're going underground into like sewer areas and whatever, which I thought was kind of strange. And the open world map is all like in one city. It's not like multiple regions or multiple cities like the older Pokemon games from like Gen 1, 2, and 3. And as far as traveling is concerned, you don't really get um any like equipment or anything like that to travel. Like back in the day, you had like a bike that you can ride to get from place to place faster, or you can have a Pokemon fly you to different regions, which was almost like instant travel. And you look at the main characters in this game, Paxton and Harmony. A lot of casuals have no idea who those two characters are, mainly because like the popularity of the Pokemon series started to decline probably after like I want to say maybe Gen 5, like black and white, people kind of stopped paying attention to it. And when people think about Pokemon, the main characters they think about are Ash Ketchum, Misty, Brock, from Gen 1, because a lot of people will go on record and tell you that is when the series had peaked in popularity. But then you also have like other popular protagonists in the series like Serena from X and Y. You have Lily from Sun and Moon. You have Dawn from Diamond and Pearl. You have Gloria from Sword and Shield. There are like other characters who are like really popular as well, but I don't think they beat like the characters from like the first generation or anything like that. And what I kind of found weird about this game was like you look at some of the starter Pokemon in Pokemon Legends C through A. Two of them are like Gen 2 Pokemon, like Chikorita and Totodile, and then you have T-Pig from like Gen 5. And and the thing is, you have like starter Pokemon from older generations, but then you have new protagonists, and it makes you like scratch your head, like, what the hell's going on here? And then, like you look at the main character for Gold and Silver. I think it was his name was like Ethan or something, and and you hardly hear anything about him, because I feel like as far as like characters are concerned, after like the first generation, all the other like main characters became less and less memorable for the most part, unless it's like a chick for the most part. And and I don't know, like this game, I feel like there's a lot of things that could have been done differently that could have made this more enjoyable. I feel like the open world travel is limited, something that I touched on earlier. Also, in this game, like wild areas are sealed off, which is something that was never like a thing in like the older games. Like obviously, like back in older Pokemon games during the Game Boy era, you had like wild areas that are separate from like the city areas, but you never saw it sealed off or anything like that. So I don't know. That's something that looked, kind of strange, and it's very different from what longtime fans of the series are accustomed to. And like the side quests in this game are meaningless for the most part. Like you get like BS rewards, like TMs you don't need, money. Sometimes you complete like post game side missions for prizes like berries, which is absolutely disgraceful. And and yeah, it's like, Pokemon Legends C through A is a game that looked promising when you saw the reveal trailer and all that other stuff and the promotional artwork. But then you realize the game is like $70, and for the Switch 2 edition anyways, the game's like $70, and then like the Mega Dimension DLC is like $30, and that's just for extra content. And for those who want like a Switch 2 upgrade pack, it's like another $10. So it's just like, yeah, Nintendo expects you to pay for all this stuff. And I think this is definitely done by design. It's not a coincidence or anything like that, because that's Nintendo's way on trying to get more out of their consumers. And the thing is, I feel like at this point, they're just preying on the innocence of children. Because again, like, I feel like it's one of those things where longtime Pokemon fans have seen like how much the quality of Pokemon games have declined over the years. And children will still like it anyways because it's children, it's designed to cater to them, and they don't know how good Pokemon used to be. And their parents will buy it for them because they like it, and that's just the way it is. And that's the thing with Pokemon, and the thing with Nintendo feels like they can just pretty much do whatever they want because they know who their fan base is, and they know that they're going to profit regardless, while adult gamers and longtime Pokemon fans are going to look at it and they're just going to rip it to shreds because they know that Nintendo can do better. And the reason why it's not better is because obviously it's just a lazy money grab. It's just slop, and it's something that you're pretty much told is gold when in reality you know that you've seen much better from games that came out over a decade ago. And I will say this about Legends Z3. One of the strongest features about this game is the battle system. I feel like there was a lot of emphasis placed on it in terms of double battles, in terms of I guess the Z3, multiplayer battle mode where you have like four players compete against each other, and I don't know. Even that is something that people have complained about because I think double battles have been around since like I want to say since Gen 3 or Gen 4 of like Pokemon games. And a lot of people would say that the older stuff was a lot better, in terms of like double battles and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just a lot of people feel like this game is just a mess for the most part. The real time battle system thing and the whole like mega evolution inclusions is something that I guess some people thought it was nice, but at the same time, a lot of people hated the repetition that you saw in the open world travel and the battles, and I guess with the side quests. I don't know. I feel like for the most part, Pokemon Legends C3A is just like it just feels soulless for and I think it's one of those things where there's so much that could have been done to improve the overall quality of the game that just didn't happen. You know, you can't even go inside like a vast majority of buildings in one city. And I don't know, that kind of tells you like, what the developers had in mind when they were making this game, because we had games back in the day where you had like 8-bit graphics, 16-bit graphics or whatever, and you could pretty much walk into just about any house or any Poke Center or Pokemart that you could possibly find and interact with NPCs and stuff like that. And that's another thing, all the NPCs in this game, you would think there'd probably be some voiceover acting, and nope, there's no voiceover acting, which makes the game feels even more lifeless, and it's something that kind of ruins the experience for a lot of people. But yeah, I think this is a game that I guess children will be amused by because they're children. It's something that adults look at and they're just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. They can do way better than this. And if they're gonna ask for, anything more than like $60, then it better be worth that price tag, because no one's going to pay over $100 to pay to, play something like this, because for the most part, this game is something that I don't know, I feel like too much effort and emphasis was placed on, I guess, making this particular installment stand out from previous installments with I guess, like the platforming aspect of it. But by doing that, it just had a lot of people scratching their heads as to, what Nintendo and the developers of this game were trying to accomplish, because it doesn't make the main character any more interesting or anything like that. And the crazy thing is when Ash Ketchum, first became a thing, and he was a cartoon character, back in the 90s and all that stuff. A lot of people hated him, thought he was lame, but nowadays, I mean, you know, he is seen as like a legend for the most part. He's like one of the first names that people think of when they think about the Pokemon series. And granted, Pikachu is the one that made Ash Ketchum popular. You look at like the main character for this game, and you look at the main characters from the past several games that have come out within the past decade. It's like nobody really remembers any of them for the most part, or really cares about them as much as they should. And obviously the Pokemon series is still going, and obviously the series is still selling millions and making millions because of its name. Like Pokemon is a household name, but obviously its peak of popularity has passed like a long, long, long time ago. I would say that the Pokemon franchise peaked in popularity during the 2000s, and even to some extent during the early teens with Pokemon Black and White 2, X and Y, Sun and Moon, and even Pokemon Go from 2016. Like Pokemon is still like culturally relevant to some extent in this day and age. It's just not nearly as popular as it once was.